Hello and welcome to Concours Coach Conversations, the podcast for EU contractual staff who want to go permanent and thrive along the way. I'm Neil Urker, and every time we have an episode, I'll be bringing you practical advice, real stories, and honest conversations to help you prepare for the internal competitions and show up with clarity, confidence, and a little less stress. Whether it's mastering the case study, acing the oral presentation, or tackling the CBI, we'll cover it here. And if you're curious about how strong your presentation skills really are, take our free quiz at quiz.concourscoach.com. That's Concours with an S. It's a real pleasure to welcome today my guest, Jeroen Reijnen. And Jeroen is an EU insider. He is an commission official at DG INTPA, and he's author of this fantastic book called Big in Brussels. In his book, he shares a no-nonsense, behind-the-scenes look at how to arrive, survive, and thrive in the unique world of the EU institutions, but more broadly in Brussels. Today, he joins us to talk about mindset, motivation, how contractual staff can show up in high-pressure moments, and in like moments like the oral presentation, the interview, but also in their career. Jeroen, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Neil.
So can you tell us a little, would you introduce yourself? Tell us, how did you arrive in Brussels?
Well, I had done an internship. Well, I've studied international affairs in the Netherlands. Then part of it was like an internship, which I did with a Dutch lobby firm. We had to do a big project for the Sultanate of Oman. I really loved that. And then I thought my future has to be in Brussels. So after my studies, I just came to Brussels, sent out 300 applications.
300? Wow.
Yeah, didn't do too much. To another internship, then another one. Ended up with an MEP as an assistant. And then basically stayed in Brussels. And worked in a political group for like 17 years. And since 3 years, I'm working at the Commission after having done an internal competition.
You make it sound really easy. I'm guessing it wasn't so easy. What were moments where you really had to dig deep, or where there were some critical moments maybe where you thought like, I'm not sure if this is going to work?
Well, I basically gave up twice. So the first time was okay. I had done these. I sent out 300 application letters. Then I got two interviews. One went horribly wrong. The second one, basically,
I'm interested in that. What went wrong exactly? When you say it went horribly wrong.
What went wrong? So basically, it was for a big consultancy firm, and half of the interview was done in English, and then I guess he already didn't really like my answers, but then he spoke French. And back then, now my French is okay. Back then, my French was really, really bad. So I couldn't even order a croissant. They always thought that I said croissant. So that was very. Oh, he made me sweat for like 5-10 minutes, and then never heard back from them.
Oh dear.
And the other one, that one went okay, but basically because I didn't have too many requests, I was really happy. I would do whatever. But it was more like another internship, and I was doing the internship, and then I thought, my God, there's so much competition in Brussels. So many people have much better CVs, speak their languages better than I do. So then after 4 months, I quit, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna travel around and I'm gonna look for a job in The Hague. Because I had also applied for the Blue Book, internship. Was on the list, but also there I didn't get in. Didn't get offered an internship. Then I was on the beach in Costa Rica, and then all of a sudden I got an email from the representation in The Hague that they looked for a Dutch speaker who could help them, for like an internal magazine, write some articles. So they asked if I could start the week after, and I thought, yeah, that's probably a, a good thing to do. So yeah, the girl I fell in love with over there went to The Hague, and that led, well, that internship led to a job with an MEP, and it was a good choice. Then I was with the MEP, did it for another 2 years. 2 years with him, really enjoyed it. But then I also came to the same conclusion. Had done a big concours.
Yeah.
The second round didn't pass, and I thought, okay, a bit more than 2 years as an assistant of MEP. It's time for a new job. Got offered something in Amsterdam at PricewaterhouseCoopers. Left, and then realized 3 months later I made a really big mistake, because in the end Brussels felt more like home than Amsterdam did. So got lucky later on, got a job offer in Brussels, but yeah, so I basically gave up twice, but came back twice.
So I'm interested because you said you didn't pass, and there must have been some moments where, yes, I said like struggle, difficulty. What do you attribute? I guess I would say that's resilient, right? To come back and want to try again or to keep going. What do you think kept you going? What was the motivation? Even at those times like where you failed and you're like, oh, okay, it's not working.
Yeah, because in the end, it's kind of a unique environment, our EU bubble. I think I really still enjoy working with so many nationalities. It always brings something new to the table.
Yeah.
I think that's what attracts most of us. You work with so many different cultures, different views, different ideas. And for me, it's still a bit of a miracle that every time we come to something. I mean, I worked on legislation in the European Parliament with from communists to fascists. Uh, in the end, yeah, there's so much diversity. But in the end, you always come to an agreement, which I think is amazing. And I missed that when I went back to Amsterdam. All of us in the conversations were about who had a nicer car or who had a better watch, and that are not conversations that in the end were that interesting to me. I think in what discussion, yeah, in Brussels you discuss about, okay, what's the future of Europe, the latest trade deal with Trump, is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? Which in the end are very interesting. Well, for me, and I guess for many of us, more interesting topics to discuss, and so I really missed that. So that what, yeah, made me come back every time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Well, moving on to your book. Your book is called Big in Brussels. What inspired you to write it, and how do you think that it speaks to contractual staff who are still trying to make it in the EU bubble?
Well, so basically I always worked in a political group. The last 5 years I was with a guy called Guy Verhofstadt. He was the leader of the group. I was his head of comms and the spokesperson of the group. Really enjoyed that job. But then another leader came in, and yeah, that I mean the cooperation was less good. So I thought, okay, I need to do something else. And I had always been working on like temporary contracts. So yeah, I was temporary staff, and I knew that yeah, with the upcoming elections, I would probably have to leave the group because I also, yeah, so the way it goes in politics. I mean, at a certain moment, yeah, new people come in, but that also means that other people
Old
have.
people go out.
Yeah, so basically, there was an internal concours coming up, and I had the idea this is, yeah, probably my last chance to get like a permanent contract. So I started to read basically everything I could find on European integration. So became a bit of a student again, and then also realized that's all very useful. But what I'm also looking for, because I was also thinking a bit, okay, maybe another kind of career. I was looking for a book basically how Brussels works, which
Hmm.
didn't really exist. So I thought, okay, then I write it myself because it's also fun to do. And I've had a lot of stagiaires in my career, and always after 5 months they ask me, okay, and what do I do now? So I thought this could be useful for them as well. But I see most of the people who read it are, yeah, people are little bit longer in Brussels, between like 3 and 6 years. So I guess a lot of them are contractual. Yeah, what I've tried to do in my book is also, yeah, show that. I mean, you're not alone. I mean, I've always been on these short-term contracts, and I also have had these frustrations that you basically do the job of an AD while you are still an A. I was back then AST3 or AST4, and I took over the job of someone who was an AD13, and
Wow.
I thought I did a better job, so I thought I need to get the same pay. It doesn't work. So my advice would be, okay, yeah, sometimes it can be frustrating, but my back then I was complaining. My boss told me, you, instead of looking everything from a negative perspective, your
Mm.
always been to look at things from a positive perspective, and I advise you to keep on doing that. I thought that was back then pretty bad advice. So I thought it's not fair because, voila, 80-13, 80-3, that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But with hindsight, I think it was good advice. I mean, in the end, it just takes time to make a career in Brussels. And I think the only thing you can do is just do your best, build up a good reputation for yourself. And what I've seen so far, I mean, all the people I know who really wanted it, to want to get this permanent contract, made it in the end. So
Yeah.
I think you just have to keep on going, don't give up. And in the end, it can be. Well, I was always a bit intimidated by. I mean, all the talented people around us in Brussels. But in the end, yeah, a lot of people leave as well. It's the competition becomes less dense as well over the years, and you build up more experience. So yeah, my book also like grit beats talent. I mean, in the end, just if you really want it, just go for it.
So keep going.
Keep going.
You
Yeah.
get there. That yeah, like although it might seem you've got you're surrounded by people who are just like you and their competition, then some of those people will drop out, and you'll probably get your chance if you keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Great. I think many contractual staff feel like second-class citizens in the system. How could they shift that mindset a little bit? Or is that just the case? You're just going to get treated like this. And I mean, for my work, I'm talking about where sometimes they show up in interviews and they're still like we say in English, a chip on the shoulder, where they're like a bit annoyed and irritated because exactly as you said, like AST3, I'm doing an AD13 job. Is there any advice you'd give there?
Yeah, I've been there, and I felt the same. But and it's yeah, basically. Well, no, I'm an official. I'm an AD, and okay, I got there in the end. So yeah, I understand the frustration. At the same time, I think for yourself, uh, it makes it a lot easier if you indeed look at it from a different way. I mean, instead of saying, okay, I'm doing the same job as the other guy who gets paid much better,
Mm,
maybe look at it, okay, I get the possibility to do that. And it's a great way. You basically have, I think it's 6 years. Basically have 6 years to get in.
mm,
So you're almost there. Now you have to take the last step. I would try to see it that way. And I think the worst that can happen to you, that you become this frustrated. I mean, you're too young to be frustrated at that age. Very frustrated, then it also will limit your chances to get a job afterwards. Because what I see as well, I mean, in the end, people want to work with people who have energy, who want to go for it. If
mm,
someone is, I see some people around me are in their end 20s, beginning of their 30s, and already frustrated about the system, etc. And then I think if that already happens to you at that age, you also have to wonder if that's really for you.
Yeah.
And I think reputation is very important. If you have the reputation of being a complainer, it's more difficult to get a job, even if you pass the competition, because your reputation will follow you. If you have the
That's
reputation of being a hard worker, want to help, I wouldn't say completely destroy your work-life balance, but if you're willing to make that take that extra step, I think that helps. So keep a positive mindset. Yeah.
Okay. That's really interesting. I haven't, that's something I haven't heard so much before about reputation, that your reputation will follow you around, and even if you do manage to make yourself a laureate and you pass through all these stages of the competition, it might hold you back from passing through to actually getting a job. What what advice would you give people then to establish their reputation before even they're doing the internal competitions or an EPSO competition?
Well, mainly by doing a good job.
Right.
Yeah,
Define a good job. Define a good job, Jeroen.
they find a good. Yeah, they find. I mean, they'll believe in what you do. If I mean, if you are just there because in the end you want to pass that exam, but you don't really enjoy the job, you really have to think. I mean, is this really for me? Is this
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
do I want to pass that competition so badly? Is that because I want to have a permanent job for life, or is it because I really want, yeah, to
Do you
work
believe in the
or in another institution and build on yeah, on this united Europe together. Um, so yeah, if you are enthusiastic, come with new ideas, try to yeah move the thing forward. I mean, people will notice. If you're just there, very passive, waiting for your boss to every time tell you what to do, yeah, then you're less seen as an added value. I think people appreciate when you when you show initiative and when you yeah.
Okay. I guess the dark side of that equation, though, is where people go, and you sort of hinted at that. When you talked about work-life balance and imbalance, the dark side of that is where you get burnout and people who are so committed to their job. And your book touches on burnout and the golden cage. How do you think that experience differs between permanent officials and temporary or contract agents, or is there no difference? It's just like burnout is burnout.
Yeah, it's difficult to say. I mean, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. I touch upon it. I'm not an expert on burnouts, but what I see around me is that burnouts happen to people I'd never expected them
Okay.
to become a victim of it. So I think it can happen to everybody.
Yeah.
I think with hindsight, I've been close once as well. Um I guess it happened. Well, I guess it happens when you put too much pressure on yourself and you just keep
Mm.
on going without, yeah, without sometimes reflect a little bit. Okay, why am I doing this? Uh, I I also realize burnout is not necessarily because of the hours you put into something more, but about the pleasure or the energy you get out of it. I mean, I think
Mm.
burnout is more about the moment you don't have any energy anymore. You run on empty. That's when it goes wrong.
Yeah.
Uh,
What brought you back from the brink? You said you were close to it at
yeah.
one. What brought you back from going just falling into real burnout? What was it that prevented you from going there?
Um, yeah. Well, in the book, I also describe a little bit the 12 phases of a burnout. And at the end, you're a bit in the denial phase. So
Mm.
basically, you blame others for stuff. You become more negative, you become more distant, you become more cynical. And I guess I was in that stage. And my wife basically told me, you're not the guy I got married to. You have to do something about it now, otherwise you will get into a burnout. You're already close to it.
Yeah.
Uh, and I was completely in denial. What did I do?
Didn't want to hear it. He didn't want to hear that message.
No,
Yeah.
no, because basically, at a certain moment, you come into a phase where you basically want to get through the day from day to day. I think at the moment you realize you're in that I mean, I didn't really realize it, but with hindsight I realized it. That's a bad state to be in. You don't really get any pleasure out of things you enjoyed beforehand. So someone gave me good advice. He said, basically, you take your job too seriously, take a bit of distance from the job, focus a bit more on other things.
So what did that look like, focusing on other things? What did that mean, practically speaking? Does that mean like making sure you left work at 5, or that you did
Well,
things
yeah,
weekends, or what did
well,
that look
basically,
like?
really prioritizing other things. So where I would normally, because I felt I had to check my emails again after dinner.
Yeah.
I mean, I stopped. Basically, I closed the computer now. Well, still 6:37, which is still quite late. But
Yeah.
then I don't check anything anymore. And then it's
Okay, great.
time, and then time with friends or sports or something else. But I think the moment you have the feeling you're always on a leash, you always have to perform, you always have to be there because others do it as well. In the end, you have to. Well, what I realize, you have to set your own boundaries because no one is going to do it for you. I mean, of course, there are these rules that you're not. I mean, you don't have to reply in the evening, but you have the feeling, and I think since COVID, everyone is doing it. Everyone is just replying. It keeps on going. Also during the weekends. At the weekend, I never open the computer anymore, or my email or anything. So I think that really helped. The moment I realized, yeah, in the end, no one complains about it. And actually, I feel I'm doing a better job because I start to enjoy it again.
Okay. I think based on my work that with the contractual staff, that's generally the people I'm working with to coach, then I think they feel a subtle pressure
Mm.
to, or that, whether it's self-imposed or externally imposed. I think it's a lot of it is internally imposed. Like they feel like, oh, I need to respond to
Yeah.
these emails because I'm new-ish in the job. I'm wanting to build my career, and I'm wanting to impress my peers and my
Mm.
boss. What?
Yeah, I completely understand. I've been there as well. So now I'm a team leader, and I've got 10 people in my team. Many of them also contractuals. As a manager, I have to say I respect people who also respect their own boundaries. I think you shouldn't be afraid of that. I think if you show, I mean, I think for a manager, it's more important that you do a good job between 9 and 5 or 9 and 6 than that you're always available.
Yeah.
So I think focus on doing a good job and set your own boundaries. I mean, it's perfectly normal to say, okay, but when something is really urgent, okay, that's different. But I mean, if your manager expects that kind of,
That was my next question. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's easier said than done. But if you end up in a burnout, it's bad for your manager, but also bad for yourself, bad for yourself, and bad for the career as well. I mean, I mean, it's better to prevent it. And I think, yeah, see it also as a bit of a challenge to set these boundaries. I have always found it difficult. I know that other people find it very difficult as well. But in the end, I also see with me, but also people in my own team, because we had this conversation in the team as well. And don't underestimate. I think a lot of managers also don't want to be bothered in the evening about stuff because you couldn't finish it during the day.
Right. They feel like they have to respond as well. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone is busy all the time because it becomes the new normal. But I worked at PricewaterhouseCoopers before, and I worked for the board. The CEO always had dinner with his family. He left at 6:30. If it can be done in a big, in such a big in such a big firm, I mean, we can do it as well. And yeah, it's a bit of a collective responsibility. And yeah, also for yourself. I mean, you also have to really. I mean, do I want to work in an environment where there are no limits?
Sure.
If in the end the conclusion is okay, your boss doesn't want you anymore because you're not available in the evening. Well, yeah, it's a tough choice, huh? But maybe do I want this? So yeah, for myself, it helped me a lot when I started to set strict boundaries. Yeah.
Okay, so you set boundaries with yourself. Your wife helped you too by having this conversations too.
Yeah.
And I guess you had some advice from your mentors as well. What would you I from an outside perspective, I've never worked in the institutions themselves, although I've been coaching and training in the institutions for 20 years now, funnily enough. Um, what would you say about I think I want to talk on the people side now, about gaining mentors, and how helpful they've been for your career. How do you go about getting a mentor? Do you just approach people? What did you say? Who did you look for? How did you go about it? And yeah, that's where I start.
Yeah. I mean, I never had like a formal mentor or something, but I often had chats with colleagues who were a little bit longer in the system.
Mm, mm,
Basically, when I wanted advice, just asked them for a coffee. I think in general, people are quite happy to help. I also realized for the book, I sent out a lot of emails to people I didn't know. Often got a reply the same day, and they were always happy to meet up. So I think
mm.
in general, people in general are quite happy to help each other. Um, so yeah, I think the moment you need advice. I mean, yeah, don't.
Oh, seem to have lost you.
Yeah, the worst that can happen to you is that you get a no. I mean, and then you ask someone else. That's not a failure. I mean, it's yeah, and I think uh, the older people get, I think the people also enjoy more and more to give that kind of advice. So
Right.
uh, I think so. Yeah, in my case, it always helped me to talk with people who were there already longer, and they could give a bit of perspective because
Yeah.
they had been there before, and it always had a calming effect. In the end, things are less bad than you initially think.
Okay. So that's a really good advice, I think. Yeah. Having those conversations with people, don't put it off till you're really desperate, and sometimes that's sometimes what I hear from people is that they leave it to very late, or they put so much pressure on themselves that it becomes a big
Yeah,
disaster.
yeah, we put so much pressure on ourselves. Everyone is very. I mean, everyone wants to get in. Everyone is quite competitive. Anyone wants
Yeah.
to climb the ladder, and I think what often happens is okay. First of all, you put a lot of pressure on yourself. It has to work. You have to succeed. There's only one path. This is what has to. In the end, there are a lot of roads that lead to a career in Brussels. And second of all, I think what's also but you also be very careful of. I mean, often you compare yourself with other people who
Mm, mm,
do
mm,
better.
mm.
You compare yourself with the ones who do less well. Uh, and by doing that, you actually put more pressure on yourself. I think you should be okay. I mean, you're already there. You're already contractual. I mean, you've already taken the biggest step. Most people didn't manage.
Never get in, right? They
Never.
never get in. Yeah.
So you already got really far. And now, yeah, now you have all these years to either decide maybe it's not for me or
Mm,
it's really for me, and then you go for it.
yeah. Yeah. I've seen people put some of my coachees in the past, they put themselves under so much pressure to pass. I think something that I recognize now is so important is not like going crazy studying and putting so much pressure on yourself just before the exam, because the corresponding disappointment afterwards is sometimes means that people just give up, and
Yeah,
they're like,
yeah,
okay, You know, I failed once and that's it.
Yeah.
I'm never coming back. You know, there's
Yeah.
something toxic with the system, and they blame the system,
Yeah.
which can seem unfair, and you know, and there's all kinds of you know, sometimes problems or things that just, yeah, as I said, it seems unfair or illogical, you know,
Hmm.
so
Yeah. Yeah.
they get put off permanently, and I think that's so sad when that happens.
Yeah. My advice would be, instead of focusing just, okay, one concours and then I'm going to study for a whole month and this and then it has to happen. I think it's
Yeah.
better to see it as a long-term path.
Mm.
Try every concours you can do, and do a little bit. I wouldn't say every day, but have a bit of a schedule. I think people overestimate what they can do in a short period and underestimate what you can do in a long period if you just do a little bit every day.
Yeah,
Which
exactly.
it takes a bit away the pleasure and also makes it a bit more fun.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I tell people, you know, this is something I do for coaching on the written test, or when they're doing presentations, as I say, you know, use the methodologies in your everyday work. So don't just do case studies, you know, try
Yeah.
to do this methodology, planning, drafting, editing in your emails or in the
Yeah.
reports that you're using, so that you build it into your daily work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna move a bit.
What helped you, or what do you, I don't know if you remember how it was preparing for your concours. What did you, I don't know, what did you maybe learn from the one when you didn't pass that you used to help you pass the next time, or did it seem exactly the same and there was I don't know, what was the learnings between the one time you failed and then the next time? Maybe we'll start with that.
Well, preparation. I mean, the first time I got really far, but I prepared well. Then I didn't do the written test was not good enough. The second one I didn't prepare very well. I didn't get through the first round, and the third one I really wanted to go for it, and I basically started, I think, 8 months before, and I just did a little bit every day. Not every day, but yeah, I prepared it well. I really wanted it. I think, yeah, it's preparation.
Hmm.
It's really preparation. I mean, it's a bit like, if you I've never done a marathon, but I can imagine if you start to train for a marathon a month before. I mean, you might make it, probably not, but it's going to be very painful. I mean, if you start 8 months before, yeah, will do a better score. I mean, and I think with a concours, you have to see it a little bit as a marathon. It takes serious preparation, and I don't know anyone who just did it like that and passed.
Hmm. What how did you cope with the pressure before the exams or the interview? What were some techniques or things that helped you, or did you just like, you know, I'm just gonna get
No,
through it?
I was very nervous, but I think what also helped me is that I thought, okay, if this is not going to work out, I have kind of a plan B. Then I will try another kind of career. And I think, yeah, I think, I mean, if it doesn't work, I mean,
Having
if you
options.
already
Yeah.
got this far, you are a talented person.
Yeah.
So there will be other things you can do in life. Yeah, I think the moment you start to think this is the only thing that will make me happy ever in life, you put too much pressure on yourself. I mean, there are other interesting careers you can do, or there will be other opportunities as a temporary, or I mean, so many different kind of contracts. Um, so yeah, but I guess it becomes easier when you get older to get a little bit more perspective. I put much more pressure on myself before.
Hmm.
Um it becomes easier when you get a bit older.
Do you also think, like, having done it and failed it a couple of times, that it made it easier for you? Like, okay, this is the third time. I'm a bit more
Yeah, yeah,
experienced, and yeah.
yeah. First of all, you have less expectations. Yeah, because okay. I mean,
Yeah.
and, a lot of people fail. It's normal. I mean, and no one is keeping track of you failing. I mean, it's not okay. Oh well, Jeroen, my God, bloody hell, 4 star. So see it as a game. It's and yeah. I mean, yeah. Let's be honest. Most people don't pass a big. I mean, so you are. If you don't pass, you're with the majority. Nothing to be ashamed of. And you just keep on going until it works. If you really want it, or you realize, okay, but maybe it's not really what. And then I think keep an open mind.
Okay, great. I think that's really good advice. That attitude of that you're a talented person, that you need to have a plan B, that there will be other opportunities, and that will really help you to keep going through the difficult bits, but also to feel like there's something on the other side, and it's not a judgment on me if I don't pass this time. Yeah.
No, and I that's where I went wrong as well. I guess sometimes in my career that okay, I got that advice from these colleagues. I mean, also have a plan B. And I also, the moment I have a plan B, I cannot focus on plan A. But later on, I realized actually you're much more relaxed. I guess it's a bit like tennis. I play tennis myself. If you put a lot of pressure on yourself, I have to make this. I mean, you start to make mistakes. The moment you're a bit more relaxed, you put a little bit. Yeah, you have this inner voice that is always nagging. Is then a bit gone. So you have to get rid of the self-criticism. It's easier said than done. But
So, what helps you then, or what has helped you? Do you think it's like that getting old, partly that getting older? I don't know for you, but for me, certainly becoming a parent really changed my perspective too.
oh yeah,
Yeah. That doesn't mean you should rush out and have a family before your exam, but what is there? What would you attribute that? Is it just really that experience of getting older? Are there other things that have helped you?
yeah. Becoming a parent certainly helps. Yeah, because I mean, before it's really you and your career, and it makes that's everything.
Yeah.
There's nothing else that has to be perfect. The moment you become a parent, even if you have a shit day, you know what you're doing it for. I mean, that makes it already a lot easier. It also makes it a lot easier when you have to pick up your kids from daycare to be just close the computer and the day at work and get
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
so
Exactly.
that really helps. Yeah, and also what helped as well. I mean, if I look around, everyone in the end, even the people where you really screwed up a couple of times in life. I mean, in the end, everyone gets there in one way or another. If I look around, people did quite okay, and it's interesting. The people who actually were the most talented are now and got I mean, career wise really far. I see are now some of them are in a more difficult position because maybe they had put too much focus on the job.
Yeah.
So that's yeah. Well, in the book I also yeah, I think what helps as well. Yeah, focus on a life next to a career. That really helped me as well. I think because I have been always focused very much on my job, the career. I loved it. It felt a bit like a paid hobby. When it yeah, but when it ended, I also realized I put a lot of eggs in the same basket. And when that ends, and all of a sudden I had a lot of free time on my hands. I mean, the book was a bit of a result of it because I needed to get it, do something with it, with my bit of. But I also realized, okay, it's also important just to focus on your hobbies. I mean, if I could give advice also to make life take a bit the pressure away, pick up your own old hobbies again. I play the piano. I play tennis. That I always did that during my life. But in Brussels, I never did that. I don't know why. I guess I felt my French was not good enough to join a tennis club, and it would also be poof. So yeah, I spent a lot of time doing French classes. Well, it would have been a lot more fun just to join a tennis club and you speak French with these guys.
Yeah.
And you learn it that way, and then you also have a bit of fun. So enjoy. Yeah, I mean, like I think, yeah, give yourself also a bit of room just to have a bit of fun and not focus everything on that career, which is really important. I know we all come for the job. No one comes to Brussels because it's Brussels. People want to make a career, but yeah, there are a lot of fun things outside work or outside colleagues to be discovered in Brussels and Belgium. So yeah, do that as well.
Yeah. So it's that exploration and find out what it has to offer. I think sometimes I'm sure you've heard the same thing from colleagues from the Mediterranean and the sunnier countries that, Brussels is a grey place and that the weather affects them. But yeah, it's that getting out there and seeing what Brussels has to offer too.
Yeah, I'm from the Netherlands and it always rains over there. So,
So you're used
so
to
for me, it's actually probably better here. But no, but I mean, I did a whole chapter about it. But I think Belgium is a great country. It's completely underrated. What helped me? I mean, I met a Belgian lady. We were together for almost 10 years. Got 2 kids together. So I got to know Belgium quite well. Then I worked with Guy Verhofstadt, was a Flemish guy. So
you sort of deepened your appreciation of the country.
Yeah. And I think what we as experts don't do enough is basically we take Belgium a little bit for granted. And it has a lot to offer. But
So
we have to make a little bit of an effort to explore it.
So getting out of the golden cage, I guess.
Yeah, getting out a little bit out of the bubble.
Yeah,
It helps. I mean, in my career, I didn't get the promotion. So the book was also a little bit, okay, where am I after 20 years, between about 22, 23 in Brussels? Do I still have the same burning fire that I had at the beginning of the career?
Yeah.
My conclusion is yes, I do, but in a different way. And I also moved out of Brussels. I live now in Brabant Wallon, and basically a whole new world opened up. So I think a career in Brussels is also a bit like a marathon. And I think it's up to you also to keep it interesting. I see also people who have this permanent contract basically getting a bit stuck by doing the same job for too long, getting a bit frustrated because you don't become a head of unit, etc., etc. I mean, that are the stories you will get the moment you're in. But it's up to ourselves as well to keep it interesting. So if you at a certain moment are bored, I mean, you have to kick yourself a little bit under your butt and try to explore new things, maybe reinvent yourself a little bit, find new ways, and I guess that's for all of us.
Did you find that this is something I wanted to talk about earlier, but I didn't find the moment, and you provided a moment. Thank you very much. But do you think that how much or not at all did a network help you, or building a network help you to find other opportunities when you got stuck?
It really helped me, but I'm not sure if I'm a great networker. I've played in a football team since I did my first internship.
Okay.
And when I got stuck basically during COVID. I mean, my job ended. I really felt like I have to do something else. I feel really, literally stuck in the job, but also stuck at home. Back then, with 4 kids, it was quite an adventure. And I really felt, okay, after COVID, now that concours came up, but I also thought, okay, that cannot be the only thing. I mean, if I don't pass that concours, I need a plan B as well. So I started to have all these lunches with the guys in my football team who, well, one was an antique dealer and now he's in real estate. The other one is a journalist. Others are working in the institutions. Others are in the consultancy. One is in the think tank. So they all took different paths, and that also made me realize, that's not only one path. So basically, I thought, okay, I have to also keep a bit of an open mind. Okay, I worked almost 20 years at the European Parliament, but that doesn't mean the rest of my career necessarily has to be in the institutions. There are other things to do as well. So yeah, I guess in that sense, I used that network. And okay, then I passed at concours, found a nice job at DG INTPA. But yeah, these lunches also basically led to the book, because these conversations I had, first it was a bit about, okay, how to make a career, but then, and that's also reflected in the second part of the book, basically how to stay mentally sane and and keep it fun as well. And so these conversations were very interesting, and I'm happy that I started doing that. So in the beginning it was just to find a new job, but it led to basically a whole bit of a new hobby, writing. And so I guess I guess if I'm so I'm not an expert in networking, but what never worked for me was networking receptions. I always end up with the stagiaire in the corner having a beer, talking about tennis or other stuff. Because that's what happened to me. Is the moment they realize, when it happened too often that someone thought, okay, the guy is not interesting enough, and basically looks just behind you to see if there's
somebody more interesting over there.
Someone more interesting for their career. So, I mean, I think, and in general, to keep it is to invest in structures that are lasting. So that football team, I mean, people come and go because, but the football team itself, the structure is there. It's same for the tennis team. Because it's always difficult when people leave after 2-3 years. You've spent so much time with them. You invested a lot of, energy, and I mean, you build up a relationship, and then all of a sudden someone is gone, and that is difficult, especially in the beginning, because then it's even more transient than after. But what helped me is to also start doing things that with Belgians that last, and then you also feel more at home, instead of that you're always in this working environment where people come and go, and you always have this feeling, eventually shall I stay, or eventually will I go back? But then also after all these years, what is back? I mean,
yeah. Is that I've experienced it myself. I lived abroad for a long time. When you come back, sometimes like you've changed. People around you have slowly evolved and slowly changed, but you've changed, and you don't necessarily fit, or it takes a while. Reverse culture shock is a thing. I had that very much when I came back. Okay, I think I'll draw it to a close there. What was like one final piece of advice that you give for contractual staff who are preparing for their competition? What would you say to them?
Take your time. Start early. Get external help. And also really go for it, but also accept that maybe it's not going to work this time, but there will be a next time. And then also have a little bit in mind, okay, if I'm not going to make it this time, what am I going to focus on then? And then instead of seeing it, okay, if it doesn't work out, this is a complete failure. No, it's not a complete failure. You gained a lot of knowledge that will be useful either in something else or for the next concours.
Mm.
Yeah, and don't give up. Just I mean, if you really want it, just keep on going, and then I think in the end you will make it.
Yeah, great advice. Fantastic. It's been a real pleasure to talk to you today, Jeroen. I'd like to remind everybody about Jeroen's book, Big in Brussels, which you can get on Amazon and probably in some very good bookshops in Brussels as well. And that's it for this episode of Concours Coach Conversations. I hope you found it helpful, a little bit inspiring too. If you're working your presentation skills, why not take our free diagnostic tests at quiz.concourscoach.com. It'll show you exactly where you stand and what to focus on next. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, share it with a colleague, or leave a review. It really helps us to reach more EU staff like you. Thank you for your listening, and see you next time.